Hari Om. If Atma or Brahman alone is real, what differentiates the sentient living beings and non-sentient inert objects? It is the Sukshma Shariram, subtle body, which differentiates the living things and non-living things, the inert objects. And even among living things, the Sukshma Sharira or the subtle body has varied levels of development. Human beings are considered to have the highest development of subtle body, the Sukshma Shariram, and various other forms of life are supposed to have lower levels of development of the Sukshma Sharira, subtle body. And the inert objects, even though they may not have the subtle body as such, but the Atma or the Brahman being all pervading, it pervades every atom of this universe, whether it is living or non-living, moving or unmoving, inert or sentient objects. So, when we say Atma alone is real, as Atma, everything is real, everything is reality. There is nothing unreal or there is nothing which is out of scope or out of sight of this Supreme Presence. Hence, as Atma, everything is real, everything is God, everything is in the presence of Bhagavan all the time, ever. This is the reason Advaita Vedanta always say that everything is Atma, Brahman. There is nothing which is apart from Brahman. So, the reason why we say that Atma alone is real and to discard the worldly objects when one starts with the spiritual practice of Mahayoga is that first of all we need to realize or remain merged in the presence of Bhagavan within. Everything starts from the seer, the one who sees the worldly objects, who is the source of the subject, which is the I thought or the ego. In the worldly interactions, we as I thought or the ego remain as the subject perceiving the worldly objects. Aham vritti is the I thought and idam vritti or the worldly objects. So the aham vritti rises from aham, the I am, and interacts with the world and the worldly objects which are called as the idam vritti, this or that. Idam means this or that. So the source of this subject, the source of the I thought or the mind or the ego is the pure I, the presence of Bhagavan, aham, Atma. So we need to remain merged in this source so that the ego gets weakened, and in due course of time, if the ego is not allowed to attach itself with the worldly objects, idam vritti, then what happens is the aham vritti stands by itself without getting attached to any of the idam vrittis, these thoughts. So, when the I thought or the aham vritti remains by itself, when the I thought, we as I thought, when we focus our attention only on our essential nature of I or the I thought or the aham vritti, then this I thought ceases to be a thought, the aham vritti ceases to be a vritti, and we remain just as aham or the I am or the pure I. We remain merged in the pure I. This is what happens when we practice Mahayoga. We we consciously remain merged in the pure. When the I thought remains by itself, when our attention is not diverted towards the worldly objects, and rather when we turn our attention towards ourselves, then the I thought remains by itself. The aham vritti just remains without any of the vrittis. So, while thus standing by itself, the I thought or the aham vritti remain merged in the pure. So, I thought becomes the pure, the aham vritti becomes the aham itself. And in due course of time, remaining as I am or the aham, then naturally the ego subsides, the I thought subsides once for all, and we shall just remain as pure, being in the presence of Bhagavan forever. While we thus remain as the pure, then our experience will be that of oneness, total oneness with everything in this world, whether it is moving or non-moving, chetana, achetana, inert and insentient, sentient objects, living beings, everything will be felt as the pure, or everything will be the presence of Bhagavan. We will experience the presence of Bhagavan everywhere, because we have eradicated the I thought or the ego or the mind, which makes us limited to this physical body. So, just by focusing on ourselves, the seer who sees the worldly objects, and turning our attention within towards ourselves, the I thought, thereby the I thought subsides and remain merged in the pure, losing itself in the process, and thereby we start to have this universal experience of oneness, having this experience of being in the presence of Bhagavan all the time, everywhere, anywhere, at any time. When the attention is centered on the pure, then what we see or what we perceive in this world will not be seen something other than the pure or the presence of Bhagavan. If we remain in the presence of Bhagavan, then what we see will not be seen to be something other than being in the presence of Bhagavan. Whatever we see also will be something within the pure or the presence of Bhagavan. This is the ultimate reality. This is the truth behind the Advaita Vedanta. Ekameva Advitiyam, one without the second. This is the greatness of this path of Mahayoga. The radical, subtle, simplest, and the most direct and quickest of all the spiritual methods or the practices is this practice of Mahayoga. Just if a person gets the interest to sincerely practice this path of Mahayoga, by itself one will be guaranteed to attain the state of oneness and remain in the presence of Bhagavan forever. This is the confirmation given by Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi himself, who has revealed us this wonderful and amazing path of Mahayoga, so that all of us can subside our ego or the I thought into the eternal presence of the pure or the presence of Bhagavan, thereby completely go beyond all limitations, bondage, differences, and merge and remain in the presence of Bhagavan forever, eternally, which is ever existing, unchanging, undecaying, supreme being, formless Nirguna Brahman, Sachidananda Atma. So, this is what we need to understand, that it is because of the Sukshma Shariram we are functioning through the light of the Atma. Just because the Sukshma Shariram is not there or it is not fully developed, there are inert objects which may be unmoving, insentient. Chetana, Achetana. Chetana means what is having life, living thing. Achetana means non-living thing. So there are Chetana, Achetana objects in this universe. But the Chaitanya, the Atma, is there in everything. It is there in even all of the inert objects. So as Atma, everything is real. There is no difference at all between a man, woman, an animal, a bird, an insect, a reptile, a bacteria, amoeba. Everything is influenced, intruded by the Atma. So as Atma, everything is real. There is nothing unreal. There is no reality at all. There is no unreality at all. There is no Maya. There is no Avidya. There is only Nirguna Brahman, supreme reality, Bhagavan, God, ever existence, eternal existence. So while we are in the state of deep sleep, we remain without body or the mind. So in a way, we are similar to inert objects while we are in the state of deep sleep. So we can consider that the inert objects are basically as if being in the state of deep sleep, wherein there is no body or the mind. When we say mind, we mean the Sukshma Shariram, subtle body. So when there is no Sukshma Shariram, what is there is only the Atma. So they remain merged in the Atma. Likewise, even we in the state of deep sleep remain merged in the presence of Bhagavan, Atma, the pure I. So there is no difference between sentient and non-sentient objects while we are in the state of deep sleep. Likewise, since Atma is there in all objects, all forms of life, living and non-living things, moving and unmoving things, it is because of Atma we are functioning as a moving, sentient, living being, because Atma is getting reflected in the Sukshma Shariram, subtle body. And since the subtle body is not there with certain objects, they don't reflect that Atma to the extent we can do that. Our Sukshma Shariram is able to function. So it is kind of inward existence which cannot be seen through by the external appearance. They will look inert. A hill or a mountain looks inert, but as Atma, that hill or mountain is also reality, Brahman, because it is there in every minutest objects, particles as well. Atma is all pervading. So it is because of the Sukshma Shariram we seem to be a living or sentient being, and inert objects seem to be non-sentient. But beyond Sukshma Shariram, Atma is all pervading, so everything is real. But within this dualistic world, we as living beings may look to be different than inert objects. But our physical body itself is an inert object, because without the Atma there is no Aham or the pure I, and without Aham or I am, the I thought cannot arise, and without I thought we cannot function in the physical body, engaging in the worldly activities and claiming ownership for these activities. So Atma is the source of everything. So without Atma, the Sukshma Shariram or the subtle body cannot even function. And it is because of the light of Atma and the Sukshma Shariram is able to function, and physically we are engaging in the activities of the world. But as Atma, everything is real. Nothing is away from the presence of Bhagavan. And we shall always remember that even at this very moment we are in the presence of Bhagavan. And we shall remain in the presence of Bhagavan forever, always, and even now in this very moment. Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala.